You have an important presentation to give at a distant convention.
Already I've
Travel
messed
for
up.
hours to the countryside and get there on time.
You'll notice two things really right
Finally,
now.
you get to the event, pay the hefty fees
First,
to
I
space
keep
for
touching the damn
your
podium, which is
company,
not really great,
but
and I've
suddenly you're
stuttered a
stopped and
bit.
escorted out before you're finished setting up.
Another
You feel
thing that you
you're not
will
earning
notice is
time.
I'm looking down
Therefore,
a
not good enough
lot.
to represent a company.
I did
You lose
not
your
get a
job as
chance to
single
really practice this
presentation.
the day before. I practiced this
You find
speech
yourself wondering,
several
what was
times,
the
actually,
point?
last week. The week before
This is
this,
what's happening to
when I was
smokers'
supposed to give
education.
it.
After working
Another thing that really
for
bothered me
further
through this entire
education for so
speech,
long,
when I'm
they're
looking
being
back,
told to abandon their work.
is I keep throwing my hair out of my
This
eyes.
is through the ban on tobacco
That's why I keep
products
swinging
on
to the
campus
right.
that, according
My
to
hair
the
is too
itself,
long
will
right now,
include the
and
parking lots and the tiny smoking stations
it's
by the end of the year.
too long and too short. I can't do
This
anything
is
with it.
just a little too far for the paying students who just happen to smoke.
This is something I did pretty well.
During my time
Yes,
up here, I'll speak
I
about 3
did well
points.
by pointing out
I will
exactly
be
what I was going to
speaking
say.
about the
This was
education
hammered
itself and
home
how it
very
affects
hard
the
to
person.
us from our
Second, I
teacher
will
and
be
makes a lot of
explaining the
sense when you
difficulties
actually
in
think
getting
about
to
it.
these
You're not telling a
statements
story,
in the first place.
you're delivering a speech.
And finally, I want to talk about the
I just
counter-argument.
steamrolled that one
That
to get it in. I'm just like,
non-smokers'
fuck it.
view.
Get it in there.
Alright, so let's get this presentation started. I'm sure most of you have an intuitive idea on what addiction is. But here's the dictionary definition for it.
I love using
Addiction is
definitions.
defined as the state of being enslaved to a habit or practice.
This is a very simple VA, but I know that this
such as narcotics.
added a lot of weight to
Such an extent
what I was
that
saying.
Association causes severe trauma. Those of you who don't quite know what association means, it is essentially to quit. I did not know that until recently myself.
I did not need to say that. I was trying to identify with the
Information from
audience.
American Heart Association even states that nicotine causes a physical change in the brain chemistry, which causes it only to, let's see, where was it? Causing
I
a
really
physical
wish I
change
hadn't
in
screwed that
nicotine
up.
in order to function properly. This
Because
is
I
why
used that
addictive
later on.
substances
Important
are illegal.
definition.
Except, of course, the ones that contain nicotine and so are legal to build an empire on selling an addictive substance to the masses. Moving
I
on,
gesture
I
a
recently
shit
did a
ton a
simple
lot, don't
experiment.
I?
I timed how long it takes to get to the average smoking station from the Senate building. It takes approximately 1.5 minutes at a swift walk to get to one of these smoking stations, which I've outlined in green.
This apparently did a lot
Add on the fact that it takes maybe 6 or 7
more
minutes to
than
smoke
I
through
thought
a
it would.
cigarette.
A lot of people felt gravity
Then a
from
return
this.
trip, and you've used up all the time in between classes. With this in mind, how much time will it take to completely leave campus to smoke? Why is it acceptable to force paying students an hour or so away from campus for something that they can't easily nor feasibly rid themselves of?
You know, for reading this entire speech, I did pretty damn good.
Finally, I
Keeping
want to
eye contact. And right there, I realized I was way
on
under
the view of
time.
non-smokers. I do not smoke. I am actually hypersensitive to cigarette
True
smoke.
story, actually.
And so I know what a lot of people who are non-smokers, the majority, I
This is
will
one of the
admit,
only times I
feel.
meant to lean on the podium.
According to Lane's recent poll data and the recorded student statements, non-smoking students don't want secondhand smoke endangering their health and the quality of the air they breathe. That is extremely understandable. It is not something you generally go to school to have as you get cancer.
I thought that would kill my argument,
In
but
fact,
it actually
secondhand
didn't seem
smoke
to.
has been noted to be more dangerous than just smoking a cigarette by itself.
I wish that was smoother there, too.
However, something to remember is just because someone is a smoker doesn't mean they're not affected by secondhand smoke. If there are two people smoking,
This is a huge, huge thing that no one thinks about. Frickin' hell. You know what? Guess what? Someone who smokes? Oh my gosh, they smoke. Yeah, they produce secondhand smoke. Guess what? Other smokers do it too. Guess what? They're all frickin' people that breathe air. Alright, I'm gonna let my speech actually speak for itself on this point, really. Because, you know, I did a good job on this.
one immune to secondhand smoke just because they smoke.
You might notice that I'm
No,
also
it's
really
totally
relaxed
the
here, and
same
everything's very
problem
smooth,
from
and I'm
secondhand
paying
smoke
attention to the
from
audience a
other-
lot more.
the other smoker.
I'm ad-libbing most
So
of this.
arguing that just seems a little short-sighted. I don't believe that they are any less danger just because they have to smoke, and they're forced to be around other smokers and breathing that secondhand smoke than people who are able to walk away from it.
That
Consider this.
a lot
the
of
smokers
people
stuck in
like
the
that.
parking lots right now. You're exposed to secondhand smoke maybe twice a day. Once when coming from your car, if you pass by one of the smoking stations, and once returning, again, if you pass by a smoking station.
Now, the hilarious part is the other
And
day I
again,
was
no
sitting
one
waiting
wants
for
to
the bus
breathe
and I
secondhand
could smell cigarette
but for
smoke and it was horrible.
Tiny instances of smoke, you would completely remove a demographic. Now for what the opposition generally suggests to smokers. 1. Why don't you just smoke before school? Well, why don't you try going the entire day of classes without going to the bathroom once? Sure, I understand that I'm making a comparison from something that has been rewritten into someone's body to be something that is required to function properly to a natural bodily function that is required to function properly. And there's absolutely no relation.
This, if no
from
one
those
got
two
this, is
definitions.
frickin' sarcasm.
But nonetheless, you still
Obviously, I made
if in both
a relationship
situations,
between those
you're
two
irritable,
things.
You can't concentrate. You generally restless, and essentially you're not going to get a good. You might as well have just stayed home from school that day. Second, why don't they just quit? This question.
Oh, I did that. Never, ever note your mistake like that. That is stupid. You know, and normally I'm on top of that. I wouldn't have done that in any other speech, but I was totally off guard here. In fact, you may not notice it, but I at least right now in this speech feel my face burning with redness. It's on fire. I'm so surprised I was able to get through this so well. But I do that a lot to myself in normal speech. When I screw up a word, I'll point it out and make fun of it because it's fun. It's funny. But it's not. You can't do that in a speech because that kills your argument. Like which I don't think I ever said in at least more than twice in this entire speech, which is pretty good.
It's often asked by the choir boys, the people who have never ever been exposed to an addiction, people that don't know how it grabs you and doesn't let go. Smoking in any form, addiction in any form, is not easy to get rid of. The stress of quitting, all of the aforementioned notes of restlessness, irritability, the stress of just holding down a job, actually keeping up with your classes all at the same time, having a life outside of school and work.
You may notice
work
by
to
now
hold
that
down.
a lot of this is
Most
really
people can't seem to even do 3 of
emotional
those
based.
things
I'm
at
trying to
once.
really
Work, school, and
tug on
and
people's
social
heartstrings.
life. So adding on quitting smoking and any other additions that people.
And
a
through
lot
all
of
this, I've
things
been
here
watching
do
the
end up
audience.
just barely
I've been trying to see how they're reacting.
Just doesn't seem. It's just not really possible.
And this was
for some
ad-libbed
people.
right at the end.
I mean, unless you're Superman, but I'm pretty sure Superman isn't here at campus. Though that would be interesting, I would admit. As I close, I want to remind everyone that starting next year, the tobacco ban, which includes even chewing tobacco, for those of you who did not know, will include the parking lots and all other lane grounds, even lane grounds that are not here at this campus.
I'm entranced by my own speech.
Forcing smokers who have little say in the matter anymore of when to
waiting.
smoke to either leave campus to smoke or effectively leave school.
Here,
There's
yes.
no legal place to smoke off campus. And
This
smoke
I
in
went
here.
too far. I really
Smoke
should
when
not
you
have
smoke
noted
on
this so hard.
Smoke on the highway. It's legal to stand on the highway.
Because I don't remember if it's truly illegal on a highway. Freeway, in Oregon, you are not supposed to be on the road outside of a car.
All I know is that I
And
wouldn't
this
want
is where
be
I was
forced
supposed
to
to
walk home
have
with
a
nothing. All alone after paying so
final
much and working so
visual
hard.
aid of like someone walking down this old crappy road. And this is actually something I'm so glad this guy said this.
I have a question.
You may ask it, but
I already go sit in my car, and smoke, would that be legal?
It,
Oh, it's
I
to you,
will
'cause
admit
that's a
that
real
that,
way of
because
saying
our
things.
own to you, it is legal,
I was shaking.
but
You can't
it's
tell
also
it, but I
very
was
unsafe.
shaky right here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you crack the window for the smoke to go out, if they come and bust you then.
Yeah, I'm so glad that he said something, because
It counts as just standing out there.
that actually added a lot of credit to my speech, and I don't think he realized that. I don't think he cared. It's not like we're trying to destroy each other's speeches. I was the only person that anyone ever asked a question for at the end, which I you know what? I feel honored. And I know who he is, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't think he would really like that, especially because I don't know. I don't know. I've just not going to mention his name because I haven't asked him about it, and I'm not going to. Yeah, so that was that speech. Things I seriously hated. One, I did not feel prepared when I started this speech. If I had been given it when I was supposed to last week, I would have been bam, and it'd been awesome, and everyone would be like, yeah. I would have gotten so much better. Though it's hilarious that halfway through when I realized when I went finally, I was not, I didn't have enough time, or I had too much time. I was near the end of my speech, and I had only used up about half the time required, 7 to 8 minutes, or was it 8 to 9? No, 7 to 8, because the previous was 6 to 7, and I messed that one up. Pretty big. Excuse me. I've been a slight bit under the weather lately. But fine, don't open. But yeah, I did not feel prepared, which tore it up. I was supposed to deliver my speech last week on Thursday, and Wednesday night I had practiced, and then took a shower and relaxed, got to sleep well, woke up. My mom came in, woke me up, and said it's snowing and the campus is closed. And I said okay, and I went back to sleep for another 4 hours. I normally wouldn't have slept, and it was glorious. But I know that if I had delivered my speech that day, it'd have been twice as good as it was, or at least one half better, a half better, 50% better than it was. Hilariously, I practiced it and it was in perfect time, and when I actually delivered the speech, I don't know. I somehow sped through the first half, which was horrible, because I kept messing up, or at least I felt like I messed up. I kept trying to speed through it and go faster because I thought I was running out of time. Because the previous speech, I went way over time. Everyone did, which is lucky because she dropped the time limit. Because of that, sort of. That she was impressed with everybody. Let's see. Another thing, I keep leaning on the podium. I'm not sure why. I think one thing is it looks like I'm leaning when I'm actually holding my hand next to my paper so I know where I am. I have a hard time looking up and down a lot. When I look down and up and look back down, I get instantly lost. I don't know where I am on my paper. This has been difficult taking notes sometimes because it can get really bad in class, and I look up at the board to look down, and I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I look back up, and the teacher's moved on, and I don't know what's going on, and it becomes a problem. It's not a major problem. It's not like I have a condition or anything, but it is something that I have a small problem with every once in a while. So I often have my hand down there so I can tell. I just have a reference point to jump from. Because if you put your hand next to something, you know where your hand is. If you put a pair of scissors on the table, you know where the scissors are, but you still have to look for it. But if you have your hand out there, you know instinctually where your body parts are all the time. So it just usually helps me keep track of my paper. This is getting really, really long, isn't it? I just realized we're really long, and the speech has been over for about like 5-10 minutes. Excuse me. Sinuses are destroyed right now. So there was the leaning thing. I did lean a bunch too. I'm not saying I wasn't leaning the entire time, but some of the time I know I wasn't. I realized that while I was watching. The unpreparedness I already talked about because I stuttered a bit. And I wasn't really calm for the first half. The latter half, you probably noticed, like I said, noted, everything just smoothed out because I just kind of went, screw it, I'm out of time, or I've got too much time, let's have some fun with what I've got, I can do this, yeah. It was hilarious, or not hilarious, but really awesome that I reverse nervoused. I was still freaking nervous, but every once in a while, when I'm under stress, I will just go boom, and I'm awesome. Only once in a while. Other times I get extremely frustrated and explode, as in rage and anger and not good productiveness. But I accomplished it this time. It was pretty cool. I want to be able to isolate that and do it again. So yeah, I was really nervous, and it seemed like it at the very beginning. Another thing, I really wish I had had that VA at the end. I just so disappointed. In fact, here's the VA. Yeah, see? See? It's pretty damn awesome. I really, really, really wish I had used it. It's just, man, man. I'm running out of things to talk about because I'm rambling now. I know there's something specific. Oh, yes. First of all, yeah, that is my computer. No, that's not important. Let's see. What else was important to speak about? I really can't think of anything off the top of my head. I do know that in a normal situation, I would have my hair either long enough to be tied back with a headband. Oh, damn, I'm gonna have to deal with my hair tomorrow. That's not good. I'm chopping wood tomorrow, basically. Let's see, what was I saying? Headband. Or, shorter hair, and I'd be dressed much sharper. And, yeah. It's also hilarious because I don't think I'd be flipping my hair back the entire time either, because of last Thursday, my hair actually was behaving. I would have been able to take out the speech without much of a problem. All right, my sinus passages are completely closing up right now because they are mean, and I'm coughing myself to death, so I need to finish this. So yeah, I understand appearance is pretty terrible. I did good gestures, and you must all admit to it because it kept people involved. It's gestures, they really, facial gestures, body gestures, hand gestures, arm gestures, eyebrow gestures. Gestures in general have a lot bigger impact when you're in the room with the person. So I understand that a lot of this, maybe some of you might think I'm like twitchy, but no. That's good gesturing. That's good speech doing. Nings. Maybe not debate, but it is a good speech givings. In fact, go look up someone doing a presentation for a company, like I suggested in the beginning. My metaphor in the beginning. They're not going to stand there going, yes, talking. They're going to be walking around, moving, gesturing constantly, either vocally, with their head, moving around a little bit, grand arms, small arms, dots, anything. They're going to be doing that. Go look at freaking Apple when Steve Jobs goes and presents something. He's not standing there solid. He's got his hands together, maybe, but he's moving around. He's looking back and forth. He's looking at the audience. He's talking to the audience. Feels like he's with the audience. That's what gestures do. I'm talking too much for nothing. I need to go now and probably have some water to try and fix my throat. And maybe a soda pop, because I am wanting one. So, yeah. See you next time. Sunday, there will be a dot hack, because that's when I am updating them right now. And Saturday, there may be a quest for clay. I'm not sure. I have not edited it together yet, so who knows. That may just be a Tuesday, Thursday thing if I can keep it up. I hope you guys have been enjoying that, too. Okay, this is way too freaking long. So, okay, goodbye, hooray, hurrah. Yeah, later.